concrete walls. There's a place for us where we could go, where we could be alone. Between city lights, we don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in our secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. I'm very happy to be with you this Sunday afternoon, and I'm very happy to be able to be with you this Sunday afternoon because, as you may know, I have been struggling to get through some of the live streams with my health, with my coughing situation. But hopefully today is going to be a better day, and we're going to have a good stream. And we're going to just see how it goes. We're going to give it a try, at least. Welcome, everybody, to the live stream. How do I look? How do I look? What do you think of my shirt? Hang on, I got it. There we go. Thank you to... Fly High FPV. You can pick this shirt up if you want. Fly High FPV made this shirt. Gave me one at Ken Herron's Minefield event, and I understand it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but it's going to be some people's cup of tea. There was a guy on my in my YouTube comments recently who commented on in my remote ID video. Blunty talked about his experience doing cannabis, professional cannabis stuff. He lives in Colorado, where it's medical is legal or whatever the situation is. And somebody commented and said, "Man, we need to get this pothead out of FPV. FPV doesn't need people like him," or something along those lines. And I was like, should we tell him, guys? Should we tell him? FPV's like full of potheads. Everybody in FPV smokes pot, apparently, except me. I like, I prefer the harder stuff. Pot. Give me a break. I'm just joking. Like, okay. Okay, so that's what it's going to be like. That's the level of coughing that we're at for this stream, for the record. Man. That's the level we're at. I'm sorry. It's just where we're at. But we're gonna work our way through it. I will be answering your questions. I'll be taking your questions here in the YouTube chat. I'll be taking your questions here in the Discord. These beautiful, beautiful people, my patrons. Without you, what would I do? What would I do without my patrons? I should find more ways to appreciate them better. I'll tell you what. Yes, GV Pilot. GV Pilot is not caught up on the latest news. Like 3 weeks ago, I got COVID. And I'm all better now, except for the coughing. Have I got the long COVID now? Is that it? I don't know. I don't like to talk about it on stream very, very much, except when I do, because I don't know. Bannister Post. Oh, wait, Bannister Post, before I get to your comment. One last thing. Leave your questions here. I will be answering your questions here. Like this question about the ICM 4268. That's very interesting to me. I will be missing a lot of these questions because they go by so fast. And let's face it, I do ramble on. If you want to make sure I get your question, hit the $, leave a super chat. And I will almost certainly read it before the end of the stream. But let's get to these questions about gyros. It's a Greek food. You got a pita, you got some tzatziki sauce, you got some rotisserie lamb meat, a little bit of lettuce, usually. They're so good. I'm a fan of them. Why would anyone not like them? No, those are euros. Sorry. Dad jokes. Anybody down for some dad jokes? Hey, you kids, what gyro do you want? You're not going to get that on Botgrinder stream, are you? No. Not going to get dad jokes from Botgrinder. You might, actually. I could see it. Let's talk about gyros. Like, for example, is the ICM 42688 any good? So, here's why we're talking about gyro chips. This has been going on for a long time. The MPU 6000 gyro from InvenSense was, for a long time, sort of the gold standard for flight controller gyros. And it became a little harder to get at some point in the last few years. It became a little more expensive. And some vendors switched to the ICM series gyros. ICM 2688, I think 2602. I may be getting the numbers slightly wrong. There were various ICM series gyros, and they all have slightly different specifications, but in general, all of them were serviceable. But that doesn't mean that people always want to be like, which one's the best? Which one's the best? Nowadays, even the ICM series gyros are hard to get. Okay, the ICM series that we have been using, and so vendors who want to make flight controllers are looking around and going, what else can we use? And one of the gyros that people have started using is the ICM 42688. Now, the ICM 42688 came to my attention. We did a news segment about a flight controller that, and I don't remember the flight controller. If you want to find it, go to the JB Livestream Clips channels, the Joshua Bardwell Livestream Clips. There are clips from all of the news and live streams and so forth. Go subscribe over there, by the way. There's a segment we did about it. And this flight controller, it had the unusable gyro situation. The manufacturer knew that this flight controller was effed up too, because in the product page they said, hey, you got to turn your filters way down in order to make this usable. And it's like, that's never a good sign. But it was essentially unusable. It had like 20 hertz noise peaks, which is too low to even filter. And that led some people to ask, is the ICM 42688 fundamentally flawed? And the answer to that question is no. In fact, I spoke with Dominic Clifton, and thank you to Dominic Clifton for, chiming in and giving me such helpful information. He regularly chimes in with really helpful information about flight controller design. Dominic Clifton, he is the creator of Clean Flight, which kids these days may not know is the thing that Betaflight grew out of. So he's the creator of Clean Flight, made a whole flight controller firmware all his own. Well, it's open source. Other people contributed, I'm sure, but he was the lead. And he develops the SP Racing series of flight controllers. SP Racing F3, 5 years ago, was the most popular Betaflight Clean Flight flight controller. It was just number one. And he still makes flight controllers and knows a lot about flight controller design. And he said that the... Cali FPV, I'll sorry, you interrupted me with your super chat. I'll talk about that in a second. He said that the ICM 42688 is actually very, very good. The specifications on it are actually very, very good, but it needs clean power. And he blames the flight controller design for the bad performance of the 42688 in that one flight controller where it's completely unusable. He says that we should not shy away from a flight controller just because it has the ICM 42688, but some flight controllers will have poor, like if you don't have capacitors near the flight controller to clean up the 3.3 volt rail, etc., etc. So, is the 42688 any good? Yes. Is any given flight controller that has the 42688 any good? Depends. We don't know. It could be good, it could be bad. Now there's a question here from Bannister Post. Saw UAV Tech's post. Now that we hoarded MPU 6000s, apparently everyone likes the BMI 270 better. And I didn't see UAV Tech's post. Where is UAV Tech's post? Is it on Patreon? Is it on YouTube? Let's see if we can find this post that we're talking about here. 5 months ago. Okay, it wasn't here. Where was it? Was it on Patreon? I don't know. Oh, here we go. It's a video. I see. The BMI
270 compete with the...
Okay. Oh, the MPU 6000 is from TDK, not InvenSense. That surprises me, but all right. This is not a surprise to me. I hadn't seen this video. But Chris Rosser did a gyro rundown, and he also concluded that the BMI 270 was on par or better than the MPU 6000. So that doesn't surprise me. And the only reason... But the BMI 270 has a different internal low-pass filter by default. And so in the past, if you used a BMI 270, and Brain FPV flight controllers were the only ones that did it up until like this year. In the past, if you used a BMI 270 with Betaflight, then the filtering in Betaflight would be way too aggressive, and it would be over-filtered. And some people suggested, and I don't know if this was true, but some people suggested this was why people felt that the Brain FPV flight controllers flew differently. They had an over-filtered smoothness that some people may have liked. Betaflight has adjusted their settings in Betaflight 4.3. So if you're running Betaflight 4.3 with a BMI 270 flight controller, the filtering is all fixed and correct, and you don't need to do anything, and it should fly appropriately. But as far as raw hardware performance, it does seem that the BMI 270 is as good or better than the venerable MPU 6000, and superior to the ICM series gyros that we have been using. So there you go. Brandon Bean says TDK bought InvenSense. Okay, thank you. I really thought the MPU 6000 was from InvenSense, but I have been wrong about things before, so who knows? Yeah. Slayer BR, thank you for 5 reais, Brazilian reais. I wanted to know a ready to fly to start learning freestyle. As I'm on the computer at the moment, I'd like to learn by doing. As I'm on the computer at the moment, I'm ready to fly. I suggest, Slayer BR, that if you want to start learning freestyle, you buy a controller. Do your research about what controller you think you're going to want to get. Get the controller, and then get a simulator. Now, you could get whatever simulator strikes your fancy. Anyone is pretty much as good as any others, because as a beginner, basically, the differences between them probably aren't going to hold you back. Get a controller and a simulator and spend, let's say, a month just playing in the simulator. Maybe less than a month if you're in a hurry, I don't know, and if you got a lot of money to throw around. But that's how I would suggest you start. And then as far as which ready to fly to get, I have a website. It's a little early for me to plug my website, but you asked. My website is fpvknowitall.com. And if you're looking for a bind and fly or a ready to fly, there are various categories here, and there are suggestions in all these categories. So that's what I would suggest. Callie FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. JB, coming from a respiratory therapist, sounds like you have some lingering bronchitis. Look into getting an inhaled corticosteroid. Hey, Callie FPV, thank you for that tip. Yeah, lingering bronchitis, whatever you want to call it. I had COVID 3 weeks ago, and I'm still coughing and struggling a little bit. My doctor did put me on a steroid, not an inhaled steroid, what was it? I don't know. I'm blanking on the name. It was, the pills you take. And so I did a course of that, but yeah, I have another appointment to go in and see my doctor, and anyway, I appreciate the input. But no, it was prednisone. Thank you. It's not COVID brain. I just don't know the name of the stuff off the top of my head. But there we go. Bronchitis, to say the least. Blackbug Digital, thank you for 500 of these. What are these? Philippine pesos. I don't recognize those off the top of my head. Thank you, Blackbug Digital, for 500 Philippine pesos. Catching you live is really rare. Been really busy flying for different productions. Good man. Just started this year, and I never thought flying FPV would boost my filmmaking career. I owe you everything. Wow. Wow. Love from the Philippines. Thank you so much for the kind words, Blackbug Digital. It is a privilege. It is a privilege and an honor to be involved in making a difference in so many people's lives. I know there are many lives that I touch that I will never know about. But to get to hear that somebody's making a career out of FPV and I contributed to that is really really touching. Jason Johnson, thank you for a $10 super chat. I just wanted to have you point out to others that motor shafts can spin inside the bell. I spent hours trying to tune my quad to realize that the shaft was spinning and slipping. Jason Johnson, I'm not sure how you would figure that out, to be honest with you. I don't know how you would figure that out, frankly. Good on you for figuring it out. The way that motors usually work is the shaft is press fit into the bell. And it's press fit probably with some adhesive, who knows, but if it's slipping, like, how would you even tell it was slipping? And what would it do if it was slipping? Because the shaft is just riding in the bearings. Like, how would it even be slipping? Except if it was, like, slipping up. Then you could see that the gap was changing and you could press it back down. But that's weird. Kello FPV asks, what do you think about the Skylight as a Cinewhoop? The thing about... Oh, interesting. Have they changed the Skylight? Have they redone the Skylight? Huh? The Skylight used to have full-size ducts, didn't it? Oh, hang on. And they've switched motors. What motors? Hold on. Am I thinking about the same? Hello. Rotorite, what did you do? No. It's the Skylight. Yeah. The Skylight used to be like this, with full-size ducts and 1507 motors, and I was like, meh. Well, welcome to 2 years ago or more. What are you doing, Rotorite? You in a time machine? You Marty McFly? You've come from the past to bring us a Cinewhoop? I was not impressed. This is a completely different animal. I have to revise my opinion. Or at least withhold it. What are the specs? What are the specs on this thing? Hello? 2203.5 motors? Respectable? 2.9-inch quad blade props? Yeah, fine. This is actually pretty respectable. This is actually kind of a modern Cinewhoop in a way that the other one wasn't. Where's the frame? They've revamped it. Good job, Rotor Riot. Good job. I don't know. This is new. I haven't had a chance to think about it very much. So, if I was reviewing this, I would know what to say. Oops, this I would know what to say. This has potential, and because this is more along the lines of what the sort of state of the art for Cinewhoops is today. In that we have thin ducts. We have pancake-style motors like 2004 to 2203. 2203 is actually a fairly beefy motor. Spinning a quad blade, so we're going to load that motor down. We're going to have a larger stator volume. Ciati, you're here. Ciati, feel free to give me your opinion, because I know you have a lot of opinions about Cinewhoops. My thinking is that what they're trying to do here is they've gone to a 2203 motor, which is a fairly big motor for a Cinewhoop, but they're loading it down with quad blade props to get additional thrust. And that's going to give you additional ability to carry heavier cameras, even though you're only on 3-inch props. You're not on 3.5-inch props. Now, I don't know how well that's going to work. It's hard to substitute for a bigger prop. And if you really want to carry a full-size GoPro, I think 3.5 is better, but 3-inch can do it. I doubt this is under 250 grams. This frame is a modified version of the Skyliner, and so it is not really designed for ultra lightweight. I doubt it's under 250 grams. Let's see if the weight is anywhere here. I don't see it, but... this has potential. This has potential. There's potential. I mean, as Ghost Branch points out, the Cinelog 3.5 or the Taycan C25 is where it's at these days. But this is, except for the fact that they're using the Skyliner frame as the basis for the frame, which some people are going to like. Like, this is what you could consider to be the state-of-the-art in Cinewhoops. We got a 3.5-inch props on like 2004-ish motors. And the frame is relatively tight. The frame is relatively tight because they're trying to save weight. But some people are really going to like the fact that this has a more standard, some people call it a school bus style frame. Some people are going to like that this is more of a school bus style frame, a little easier to work with. Just take the top off and get in there and do your business. I wouldn't reject this. I would reject this out of course. I'd like to see a 3.5-inch version of it. I think it could be a 3.5 and fly better with a big camera. Good job, Rotor Riot. Good job. A lot of sometimes, I won't say a lot of times. Sometimes it feels like some Rotor Riot products are a little behind the state of the art. And, I mean, you know, I understand why that is. It can be hard to keep up with the state of the art. But this is a case where they've updated it and in response to feedback. And I think those changes are good changes. All right. Let's see here. We got a question here in the Discord from Augie. Thank you for being a patron, Augie. Thank you for your support. With the new DJI Goggles 2 having integrated head tracking, do you think this technology will hit the cinematic FPV DIY scene somewhere in the future? I don't. Because I mean, head tracking isn't new. Head tracking on a gimbal isn't new. That's existed for, you know, forever. We have lots of examples of fixed wing airplanes with head tracking gimbals in them from, you know, 2015, 2014, or maybe even earlier. That's not new. But for DJI to integrate the head tracking, I think that that's the kind of feature that it feels like DJI will keep locked down in their little ecosystem. And that they will not expose that to, like, you would need a head tracker output from the goggles. Now, absolutely, DJI could write firmware to make a head tracker output from the AV jack. I 1,000% believe they could do that if they decided to. Without the ability to get the head tracker information out of the goggles, it either needs to come out of the goggles into the controller via the buddy box interface, or it needs to come out of the video transmitter to the flight controller somehow. It doesn't feel like that's usually the kind of thing DJI does. They usually keep that stuff sort of bottled up. So I don't see that happening. Also, there's lots of reasons why multi-rotor pilots tend not to use head trackers. See, Adi, is that a 4-inch setup? Was I wrong about the... Hold on. Did I misread the size of the props, Siadi? We're going back to the Rotor Riot Skylight. Did I misread that? Is it 3.9? In my head, it said 2.9. No, it's 2.9, Siadi. Thank you. I'm not crazy. It's a 3-inch setup, not a 4-inch, if we're talking about the Skylight. Okay. I was like, oh, did I misread that? No. 2.9 is what they're shipping it with. Apparently, it can fit 3.5-inch props without ducts. Thank you, Mike Bergman. Okay. Ben Stone wants to know, which 5-inch pre-build would you say is the best beginner or budget quad? Well, budget, pre-build, Bind and Fly's pre-builds are super expensive these days. Like, the ones that come to mind are the iFlight Evoke, something like that, and the Gepard C Mark V, something like that, and the Diatone Roma F5 V2. Although I feel like the Roma is, it's the iFlight Evoke and the Gepard C Mark V are kind of a toss-up to me, and the Roma is a slight second place or third place, I guess, between them. But they're all good. And price-wise, you could always build something cheaper, but there you go. Those are the three that I lean towards. It's hard to say which is like best. But they're all pretty freaking expensive compared to what you would like to be paying for them. I remember you used to be able to get an analog diatone for $300, 200, sorry, not $300, like $200, $180, $190, $210. Now it's $300. It's gone way, way up. It's a shame. I mean, it just is what it is. Copter Flights wants to know, do you see any future in the DJI V1 goggles? Copter Flights, the DJI V1 goggles are still going to be useful with the Air Unit and the Vista. They're not going to work with the Avata drone, but I suspect that most FPV pilots aren't going to be going that direction anyway. So, Arnold Henning asks, this is a very interesting question that is going to definitely not have any controversy. Do you think Express LRS or Crossfire is better if price isn't a problem? Thanks a lot. Certainly one of the advantages of Express LRS is the lower price. So if you take cost out of the equation, then that does take away one of the advantages that Express LRS has. The big advantage of Crossfire is going to be the relatively consistent hardware quality and firmware quality. Whereas with the thing that people need to realize is that when you buy an Express LRS receiver or an Express LRS module, you're in a similar situation as when you buy a Betaflight flight controller. If you get one from a bad vendor who built a crappy flight controller, it's going to crap out on you. If you get one from a good vendor who built good hardware, it's going to be solid. And there's a wide variety there. And people aren't used to thinking about their receivers this way. They're used to just buying receivers and having them be reliable. So if you want to just buy a receiver, have hardware that you know you can count on, obviously nothing is 100%. Crossfire has had their problems in the past, but it's certainly, you can count on Crossfire's consistency in a way that you can't. Whereas with Express LRS, you have to be like on the Discord and be like, hey guys, is such and such a receiver okay to buy? And then they go, oh, no, don't buy that one. Oh, it's messed up. No, it has a problem. Or like, well, the latest batch is okay, but if you get an earlier batch, it had this issue. And if you hear that and you go, this is bullshit. Why should I have to do this? Then just don't. Then Express LRS is not for you. But Express LRS has a lot of other advantages that draw people to it. Crossfire 900 megahertz is going to have better range and penetration, but it only goes up to 150 hertz. So the latency is not going to be as good as Express LRS. And realistically, Crossfire, you often are going to be at 50 hertz if you really want to get the kind of range and penetration that people expect, which means, but like many people are okay with that. Many people are okay with that. But simply, it's impossible to say one or the other is better, hands down, because it just depends on your priorities, as always. Like, I'll give you an example. I was talking today with somebody who was testing Express, not today, anyway, I was talking recently with somebody who was testing Express LRS. And he was doing range tests and he was fail-safing the link, and then it would not come back after fail-safe. He was like, I was literally standing over the quad and it was fail-safed and it didn't come back. I had to power cycle it. And it turns out that there is a Crossfire option. There's a Crossfire option which, if you enable the no sync on arm option, then while you're flying, after you arm, it stops sending sync packets. And what that means is that you get a low jitter, more consistent packet flow, like good for racing. But if you fail safe, then it won't reconnect without power cycling. And, you know, he didn't know about that option. And he was like, why would it not reconnect after fail-safing? This is BS. This is buggy. What's going on here? And it just turned out there was a different option that people didn't know about. So, you got to know what you're getting into with Express LRS. If you just want, like, F you, sell me a receiver and I'll put it in my quad and I'll fly it. That's not Express LRS. Okay? You have to know what you're getting into. Express LRS is this pool of technical details, and you got to love it. You got to love it. You got to want that. Right? Okay. Okay. Webster wants to know. Hey, Joshua Bardwell. 2 weeks ago, I lost my first drone in the mountain on vacation. Now I'm saving money for a new drone and a digital system. I think HD0 is for me because I love open source and tinkering. But is there a release date for the goggles? I don't think they've got a firm release date. No, certainly not. Ryan Quellet is testing a prototype. He's been posting on YouTube about it. And they say they want to have them available for sale before the end of the year is what I've heard. But there is no release date. And these days, there's a lot of shit that makes stuff be late. It's crazy. Apparently speaking of things that make stuff be late, apparently there's been a heat wave in China. For like 2 months. There's been a heat wave in certain parts of China and a drought. And it's like 45 degrees Celsius nights or days and 35 degrees Celsius nights, and that's like 95 to 115 or something for Americans. And like rivers are running dry and the reason I point this out is a lot of factories are shutting down. They can't run them because they can't run the power stations because the rivers have run dry and they don't have the water they need to, like, you know, you're going to run a coal power station. You have to boil water to spin turbines. You need water. You're going to run a nuclear power station. You need cooling water. There's all kinds of, and I'm like, how did I just hear about this morning? Like I saw an article about it on the internet. Like for 2 months, there's been an epic heat wave. I haven't heard about it. Weird. So my point is, there's always going to be something that could push the delivery date back, and we just don't know. I did a Google search about it, and like all the stories are from like 2 days ago. How has there been a humongous heat wave in China for 2 months? You know, and no one knows about it. Except the people in China obviously know about it. I don't know. I feel like I got my head in the sand, but I was surprised. Why uranium? How do I buy or build a quad that is 100% made in the USA? You can't. You can't. You can't. I sincerely believe that you cannot do it. Like, define made in the USA. This is a fantasy. This is a fantasy. Spend your energy. Like, I feel so. I don't know. Like, is this really? How to put this? I don't want to sound derogatory towards you, uranium. But I see questions like this and I'm like, is this, like, why this? Why this? Right? Like, whatever you're trying to accomplish, like, let's say you disagree, you think America is too dependent on foreign imports and you want to support local manufacturing. I don't know. Like, how do you live the rest of your life without buying anything like imported from a certain country? Is it even possible in this day and age? What could you buy? Let's think about it. Brain FPV builds their flight. I'm told by Brain FPV that they build their flight controllers in the USA. that they manufacture the PCB and so forth. But in other words, they do all the soldering of components and stuff. They order components from China. So the actual electronic circuits, chips and so forth. I don't know about the PCBs themselves. So they order components from China, but they assemble the components in the USA. Does that count? Does that count? Is that good enough? You see, because no matter what you do, as long as it's electronics, on some level, it's probably coming from China. Right? Are you going to use a lithium battery? The lithium probably came from China. Oops. Okay, F you. So when you say, the problem is you say, I want to buy a quad that's 100% made in the USA. That's just not how the world works today. It just isn't. It's a global manufacturing economy, and China is part of it. I can't think of a video transmitter that isn't made in China. I think that there's like one or two companies that make motors here in the USA. I couldn't name them off the top of my head. Bad for Life points out that CNC drones is Canadian and cuts carbon. So, I mean, I think the thing that you have to do is you have to accept that in this day and age, some stuff is going to come from outside the country, and then you have to decide where you're going to draw the line. But this idea that you even can buy a quad that's 100% made in the USA, it's a fantasy. Sorry. It's a fantasy. Lithium's from Afghanistan. I thought I heard that China had a shitload of lithium. I don't know. Well, anyway. Good luck. Good luck. I'm doing pretty good on the coughing, huh? I'm doing a shitload of coughing. Yeah, you're welcome. Goncalo Regio. Thank you for €5. Any idea when DJI Goggles 2 will be available? I mean, you mean separate from the Avata drone. Do you know a video about disassembly of the Avata? No, I don't. I don't know any video about disassembly of the Avata. The Goggles 2, presumably they'll be available when the O3 Air unit is available separately. So right now, if you want the goggles, the new goggles, you got to buy the Avata drone with it. That's the only way to get them. I have heard that the O3 Air unit is rumored for release in late September or October. That is not confirmed. That's not... I've also heard that that date is being pushed back based on development and so forth. So we don't know. But I would say certainly not before the end of September. It seems silly for them to sell the O3 Air unit without selling the goggles separately, although perhaps they could decide to do that. Here's the thing, though. Obviously, DJI would rather sell you the goggles and an Avata than sell you just the goggles. So I would say that if the sales of the goggles, if the production of the goggles is limited, and it makes sense that the production of the goggles might be limited today based on supply chain, manufacturing, yada, yada, yada. As long as they can sell Avatas and goggles together, they may not rush to release the goggles by themselves. So, we don't know. But I would bet, I would say with some confidence, not before the end of September. And then as we go from September into October, those odds go up. Zipperlips FPV, thank you for a $5 super chat. Anyone feeling a top speed FPV challenge? Yeah, well, I mean, people are always doing speed records. I think the current unofficial record is around 198 miles an hour, so go for it. Could you buy a Nevada and tear it apart to get an Air Unit 03? Presumably, yes. Although, who knows if the firmware on the Avata 03 Air Unit has additional checks to see if it's been removed from the drone. We don't know. It's a thing that they could do. So we don't know. Blizzard FPV, thanks for a $5 Canadian super chat. Is Walk Snail a good option for my brand new Walkera racing drone? I think you're making a joke about Walkera racing drones and the old Walkera commercial. So thank you for that, Blizzard FPV. Thank you for the donation. They also $2 Canadian. Whittle a chip out of American hardwood. Not silicone. No silicone in the hardwood, folks. Does SP Racing still make flight controllers? Asks Chris Whitehead. Thank you for £2 quid. Yes, SP Racing still makes flight controllers. Absolutely. Absolutely they do. Although they're not as in stock as you might hope, but he does still manufacture them. And there are some new ones, including the H7 Extreme. Very innovative. This guy must just love making flight controllers because super innovative flight controllers. H70. One of the first to come out with the H7 chip on board, and he does not screw around. Express LRS and Pixel OSD on board. Yada, yada, yada. Cool stuff, cool stuff. Some of them run ArduPilot. Aber the Ham wants to know about my thoughts about the recent HD0 goggle videos. Yeah, so Ryan Quellet has been putting out some videos about Ryan Wellet? What? No, Ryan Quellet. Have I spelled it wrong? Okay, there we go. He's been putting out some videos about the HD0 goggles, latency testing, and so on. One of the interesting things he's done is test the claim that the HD0 goggles can have 4 millisecond glass-to-glass latency. A lot of people speculated that it wasn't possible to do HDMI that fast. Ryan's got a test set up here. I'm just scrolling through looking for the results. We got a table of results, Ryan? And what I remember reading is that the very first... Here we go. Thank you, Ryan, for summarizing. If we use Chris Rosser's methodology... I should throw a link to this video. Here's a link to the video if you want to check it out. Using Chris Rosser's methodology, HD0 shows a whole frame in 19 milliseconds versus 35 milliseconds with analog. The standard for analog camera latency testing is a photodiode test where we measure the first scan line to respond to the LED illumination. In this way, HD0 and analog both have subframe latency. Analog technically only shows half of a frame per field, so analog would have to be multiplied by 2 fields, he argues. Hence, longer latency than HD0. I think that's debatable. Because Ivan Efimov argues, yeah, if half the analog frame shows the obstacle, you can start reacting. So one way that analog latency is measured is to measure the very first change of a pixel on screen. And by that measurement, then you could see latency as low as 4 milliseconds. They did accomplish it. The full frame latency. The thing is that different systems will have different ways of displaying the rest of the frame. And so another way to measure it is how long it takes for one full screen to be updated. And in that respect, it's always going to be longer because you'll always update. I mean, in some systems, I suppose, you would update the whole screen at once. Like, I think that's how DJI V2 does it. But in analog and HD0, there's a scanline-based system where they don't update the whole screen at once. And so the full frame latency is another way to look at it. Which of those you think is best depends. But 19 milliseconds full frame latency is certainly respectable. Not as impressive as 4 milliseconds, but then it depends on whether you care about full frame latency or not. I think that full frame latency is less important in a continuous, like, what I like to say is, let's say that we're going to light up 1 pixel on screen, and you're going to press a button when you see that pixel light up, okay? Well, if you have a scanline-based system where the whole screen doesn't update at once, then depending on where in the scanning process that pixel is, it's going to change the latency. If the pixel lights up all the way down here and the scan line is up here, it's going to take longer for you to see that pixel than if the pixel lights up here and the scan line hits it immediately. Okay? You follow me? But we're not doing that when we're flying a quad. We are performing a continuous function in space. Very seldom, not never, but very seldom does something appear in the middle of the screen. And that millisecond difference between where the scan line is at any given point in time and where the object on screen is what makes a difference. So if you think about flying through a tunnel, okay, and the tunnel is twisting and turning and you're twisting and turning with it, you're sort of perceiving the average latency of the system as you go. At no point does anything appear suddenly in the middle of the screen. New information appears from the edge of the screen as the quad flies, okay? And information that you're already aware of moves in the middle of the screen. You follow me? That's what flying is like. And information that's in the middle of the screen is relevant because that's the stuff you're going to crash into. And information that comes in from the edge of the screen is not usually immediately relevant. I've never actually talked this out exactly like this before. So my argument is that the full frame latency of an analog of a video system, it's more about like the average latency, because you're going to see an obstacle come into field from the edge of the screen, and you're going to have 1 or 2 frames to go, oh, I need to not hit that, and change direction. And to me, that changes how you should think about the latency. Now, it does make a difference. The more that you are diving into unfamiliar areas, let's say I'm going to dive into a bando, okay? I'm going to dive through a window. It's dark, and I haven't scouted the line. So, like, you see Mr. Steele do this a lot. This is really characteristic of his style of flight, is that he will fly into an unfamiliar area and just boop, 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 go around. And it's almost like, and he does it too. It's not, I can tell you from having flown with him, he doesn't like go scout it 57 times and then show you the one pack. He'll just like take off and be like, what's this? What's this? What's over here? What's over there? And part of the reason I think that he's able to do that is just he has good reflexes. He has good reflexes as a pilot. He probably has a lower than average reaction time, a faster than average reaction time. But certainly the latency of the control link and the latency of the video link plays into your ability to do that. And the more that you're doing that, the more that you are being presented with new information that comes up suddenly and that you have to react to quickly. So, These are thoughts that I have when we think about the latency of an analog system and whether the full frame latency versus the first pixel to change matters. Those are some things that I think about. Mo says, in FPV, there is a continuous flow of visual data into your eyes. Racing as an example. You see the gate coming. You anticipate and move accordingly, regardless of latency. Mo, I would agree with you, but I would also point out that Ivan Efimov did a test where they tested 500 hertz versus 50 hertz on a racetrack, and they found that they could consistently, like 10 out of 10 and 8 out of 10 for the two different pilots, they could consistently tell the difference between 50 and 500 hertz. And that says to me that that logic doesn't hold. That latency actually matters most when you're racing. And it does make a difference. Anyway, latency does matter. So, we'll see. Okay. Camille Ziobro wants to know, is there a way to have an SPI, an Express LRS receiver built into the flight controller with SPI? Yes. Yes, that is absolutely being done. Like today, it's being done. Mostly for tiny whoops. ZLBO7, thank you for a $2 super chat. And thank you for buying the JBF7 flight controller. You want a wiring diagram for the JBF7 to a T-Motor F55 4-in-1 ESC. Well, normally I probably wouldn't draw a wiring diagram for you in the middle of a live stream, but you did buy my flight controller, and you did leave me a super chat. So, okay, let's do it. We'll do a little tutorial here. I'll bring up my favorite sketching program, which is PowerPoint, way back in my classroom instruction day. This is the original one. Here's the V2. New flight controller in case you missed it. Where's the underside? Well, there we go. That's what I want. Copy image. Paste this sucker in. Let's crop it down. Unfortunately, I think they got rid of the label. Did they get rid of the label on the 4-in-1? They did. That's annoying. That's too bad. All right. Let's go to the manual. We'll definitely have a pinout diagram in the manual. There we go. We'll just grab this. There's our pinout diagram. And we will just crop this. So we'll make some room here. So we just look at the ESC pinout. And then we want the T-Motor F55, you said. Fine. Good ESC. We'll need a pinout diagram from the ESC as well. Great. It's printed on the ESC. That's convenient. Let's see if we can find something nice to screen grab. Perfect. Perfect. Easy peasy. What? All right. Crop this down. Here's our ESC pinout. Oh, come on. Oh, I hit Control T like this was Photoshop. I'm trying to, sorry, I'm using Photoshop keystrokes by accident. All right, so how do we figure this out? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take ground and VBAT. Ground is going to go to ground. Let's thicken this. Let's make this a thick boy. Thick boy. Yeah, thick boy. There we go. Perfect. Ground is going to go to ground. There's an extra ground here. Just ignore it. Just get rid of it. I don't know why they do that. Bat is going to go to bat plus. Right? That's easy. Ground to ground. VBAT to VBAT. That's where we'll always start. Hey, hey! I said red. Thank you. The other thing that's easy is the motors. Motor 1 to 1. Let's just make these yellow. 2 to 2. 3 to 3. And 4 to 4. All right, fine. And then we've got current and R6. Current is going to be for analog current sense. And that's going to go to current. Makes sense. And then R6 is for ESC telemetry. And that's going to go to telemetry. And there is your pinout. Now, what about plus 10V? The F55 ESC has a 10-volt regulator on board. Some people like to use that to power their video transmitter. You could do that. You would just wire it directly to this pin, though. You wouldn't wire it to the flight controller. You could use that second ground as well. So you could take this 10-volt and this ground and solder those to your video transmitter if you prefer. Or you could just not use them. And there you go. Thank you for a $2 super chat. And thank you for buying my flight controller. Sure do appreciate it. Ghost Branch says, JB's PowerPoint skills easily match my Photoshop skills. I have spent a lot of time working in PowerPoint. Ghost Branch. What are some reliable 20 by 20 stacks aside from Hobbywing? Let me, first of all, thank you for $5 Canadian, TLO8 tube. Let me refer you to this page on my website, fpvknowitall.com, home of the ultimate FPV shopping list. This is the racing section, and all of the flight controllers in here are 20 millimeter and are believed to be reasonably durable and tested by racers. The Acon F7 and Acon Pro ESC, the Brain FPV Radix Lee, the T-Motor Mini F7, the Redex 32, if you can find it in stock, and the Foxeer Mini, as well as the Foxeer Reaper, although I've heard that Foxeer Reaper had a bad run lately. I don't know about that. There you go. That's what I would suggest. Camille Ziobro, thank you for 5. I believe those are Zloty, Polish Zloty. Yes. Thank you for the donation. Eric Ashner, $629 US. Strange amount. I need money to build a quad, so I want to know who's going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not your man for that. Michael, thank you for 50 Swedish kroner. Have you heard anything about Flight 1 development and refunds? Michael, let me preface this by saying that everything I am about to say is my opinion, and none of this can be legally considered defamation for the purpose of suing me, if anyone were to think about doing that. Except for the things that I specifically say are facts. I can tell you that people reached out to me and said, at least one person reached out to, I want to be really careful. When you start making statements of fact, you better be able to back them up, especially if somebody is litigious. And we all know that Flight 1 sued Heliospring and Butterflight over some disagreements they had, so they're not afraid to make a lawsuit, although I think that they currently are out of money, so maybe I'm not much risk of getting sued. But let's be careful anyway. Somebody reached out to me and said that they had back orders from Flight 1 from over a year ago, from 2021, like November 2021, or that rough time frame. And I asked Preston, and I said, I literally asked him and said, is that true? Do you have back orders from over a year ago? And he said yes. He said he confirmed that they did have some back orders from over a year ago. Now, if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about a company, then I don't know what to, I mean, do I need to spell it out for you? Here is the part where we get into speculation. It is my opinion that the company is dead. It's my opinion that the company is dead, that they will not ever do another run of product because they don't have the money to finance another run of product. I have heard from stores who put in thousands of dollars of orders with them. They put in an order, according to people who will not go on the record because they, for whatever reason, they choose not to go on the record. A store saying, I'm going to burn this vendor publicly. It's not worth it for the store usually. It just results in political backlash, and they usually would just rather take the loss and not sort of put their foot in the freaking morass. Nevertheless, I have people who speak to me off the record who say they put in thousands of dollars orders with Flight One, that Flight One never delivered product, and that they never refunded the money, and that they just ghosted them. So even if Flight One were somehow to raise money and make another run of flight controllers, what store would touch them? They'd be like, okay, you owe us $10,000 in product. Let's start there. And do you think Flight One is just going to be like, all right, guys, yeah, you're right. Here it is. If Flight One were to get money to make another run of product, they would need to recoup that money. So the company is, in my opinion, it's dead. It's dead. It's been dead for a long time. And the shitty thing is that as far as I know, they're still taking your money. Can I currently go to the Flight One store and buy a product? Pre-order. Pre-order. How about never order? First available. How about never available? Add to cart. PayPal. The PayPal window is open in another screen. I'm not showing it on camera. As far as I can tell, I can literally give them $60 right now for a product that will never exist. And by the way, yep, here's my payment information. Again, I'm not going to put it up on screen, but continue to review order. I can place an order right now. Now, here's the thing. This is a 1+ year old flight controller. Do you still want it? Nevertheless, their website is up. They're still taking customers' money. I think that they have to know that they will, oops, sorry, wrong scene. They have to know that they will never ship this product. And this is where I have to couch my words very carefully because I don't want to get accused of defamation or anything. But it seems to me like this has to be a crime, right? Like if you're taking customers' money for a product that you do not have and that you know that you never will have, how is that not a crime? But that's what seems to me to be happening. Because I don't think that they can possibly, I think they have to just be, why have they not made a product in over a year? They haven't. And every time this happens, Preston shows up on Facebook and is like, hey guys, we're working super hard. We got some great stuff in the works. Hey, everybody who loves Flight One, post your favorite thing about Flight One on Facebook and we'll pick one of you to get a prototype flight controller so you can see how great the stuff we're working on is. And he hopes, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Meanwhile, there is a whole Facebook group of people who have not been able to get refunds. First of all, they can't, they're not, they don't, a lot of people say that they've tried to get refunds and they won't give them refunds. Why hasn't anybody taken them to court? With what money? You have to hire lawyers to sue someone. It costs thousands of dollars. So no one cares enough. And if you did sue them, again, I doubt you could recoup because I don't think they have any money. Now, Del Squatcho FPV is, now we're solidly in the realm of rumor and speculation. So I'll just read Del Squatcho's comment. Preston damn sure boasted about spending money on Dogecoin and such. Yes. Remember way back when crypto, everybody was going to the moon? And I don't remember any of these messages personally. But people who were around in the Flight 1 community at the time tell me that Preston was super big on crypto, and some people have suggested, with no proof whatsoever, that maybe the reason that Flight 1 is now out of seems to have no money and can't make product, they have speculated that Preston put it all into crypto and lost it all. I don't know if that's true. Anyway. So no. Flight 1 is dead. Do not give them money. And I think it probably should be a crime, if it isn't, that they're still taking money. Their website should be taken down. They should go out of business. They should declare bankruptcy, whatever. It is an absolute travesty that they have taken as many people's money as they have and not shipped product. But hey, businesses make shitty decisions and go out of business all the time. The real thing that pisses me off about this is that since it has become abundantly clear to me that the company is dead, it should also be clear to them, and they should stop taking people's money for products that they will never ship. But that is par for the course, some would say, for these people. Anyway. And I wanted to go on this rant because, number one, it's just fun to go on a good rant. And number two, I hope that this will go up on the Livestream Clips channel because I feel like people still don't realize this. And people are like, hey, should I try this new flight controller? I think I heard good things about Flight 1. And no one should give them their money. And if anyone knows how to actually, like, if this was a real company, like a big company, if Best Buy was taking your money, if Best Buy took $600 from you in exchange for selling you a TV, and then a year later they hadn't shipped the TV and wouldn't give you your money back, and they had done that, and they had kept taking orders, then there would be a lawsuit. And there would be a news article, and people would know. And I don't know how to make that happen for Flight 1. But somebody needs to put Flight 1 as a company in the ground. And I don't know how to make that happen, but it needs to happen. It needs to happen. I don't know how do you make that happen? Better Business Bureau. I don't know. Okay, rant over. Preston, stop taking people's money for product you will never ship. Has he blocked me? I can't. He's just going to be like, what do you mean? We're doing great. We're going to ship product soon. We've got something amazing on deck. For the record, like, and this is public, these are public facing comments. So, I mean, this is clearly on the record, so I'm going to share it, but I don't want anybody to think I'm doing anything inappropriate by sharing it. This is October 2021. Oh my God. It's 2 years now. It's almost 2 years. Jesus. So this guy says, blah, blah, blah. I put an order in fall of 2020. So now it's almost 2 years. And I said to Preston, any comments or facts in dispute? Do you have outstanding pre-orders that have not shipped? What's the status of Flight 1 inventory? And he says, COVID delays, complaint, excuse. None of that, by the way, none of that actually fully explains the delays. We have batches coming. Yeah, where was it? Where was it? We have blah, 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 blah. Definitely not from the release, but from 2020. See? He confirms that they have outstanding pre-orders from 2020 in October of 2021. Engineering, and by the way, COVID delays. Well, everybody else in the world managed to continue to make flight controllers, just not you. All right, that's not a, Blah, 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 blah. Our cost of our board has doubled. They paid $10 for a board replacement for a board that's going to be $80. Exactly. This is why the company is dead. This is the real reason why the company cannot survive. Because if they have pre-orders from 2020, those pre-orders were for a $50 flight controller or whatever. That flight controller now costs them $50 or $60 to make because everything is more expensive. They've been effed by inflation at this point. They cannot honor those pre-orders without losing a shitload of money, which means they will never honor those pre-orders, and they cannot give refunds because I think all their money is gone. But I just want to point out that I'm not just talking out my ass here. And I also will give Preston the opportunity to speak for himself. One of the things he says is that we can't refund people because he's outside the PayPal window. That's not your customer's problem. That's your problem. You failed to ship product within 30 days. That means you can't refund it. You still have to give the customer his damn money back. And then he says, oh, there's people with fake names asking for stuff. Yeah. So, how do we get the word out? Like, we can't force them to take their website down. We can't get their PayPal account yanked for fraud. How do we get people to stop giving them money? That's the thing. I don't know. Alrighty. Thank you for the super chat, Michael, 50 Swedish kroner. We got a couple more super chats we're going to get while we're here. Thank you for 100 rupees from KS. Suggests that I stop drinking cold drinks. Yeah, I don't know. Thank you, Magic. Thank you for your concern. Thank you for your thoughts about my health. Magic Man 54, thanks for a $5 super chat. What pre-flight checks do I need to make for my first built drone? So I will show you. There's a video in my series, my 2022 freestyle FPV drone build video, made in flight. So it takes you through installing the props, fail-safe check, and then the very first hover test. You should also do a smoke check. So, Magic Man, this video, make note of this video's title. In this same playlist, there's a smoke check video. The playlist is here. And yeah, here's the smoke check. So you should do a smoke check as shown in this video. And then when you maiden, you should do the process that I show you in the maiden video. Basically, the maiden video consists of arming the drone and then tilting it left, right, up, down without raising the throttle and seeing if it behaves acceptably, as expected. Lee Man asks, why haven't you reviewed the DJI Avata? Thank you, Lee Man, for a $10 super chat. Appreciate your generosity. They didn't send me one to review. You know, they had a list of reviewers that they thought they wanted to include. Guys like Paul Nurkala. By the way, somebody in my comment said, yeah, they didn't send it to any FPV people. That's not true. They sent it to Paul Nurkala. And frankly, Rotor Riot is FPV people. I don't think anybody disputes that. So that's at least 2 hardcore FPV people who got the Avata, but they didn't send it to me. I have reviewed other DJI products in the past. I reviewed the DJI Mavic Mini. I reviewed the DJI FPV drone, although that was as part of my Rotor Riot affiliation. That's how I got in on that. They sent me both of those, though. I don't know why I wasn't included in this one. I'm not hurt. But you know, it's not like I don't take it as a snub. There's lots of reasons why people might not want to include me in a review. I don't know what. Some of them, you know, people are like, yeah, they can't handle how real you are. You're keeping it real. It's so funny to me. People just say what they already think. If I review a product favorably and the person doesn't like the product, they're like, yeah, you're such a liar and a shill. If I review a product negatively and people have a negative opinion about the product, they're like, yeah, you're keeping it real. And it's like basically all you're saying is, you agree with me. I like it when people agree with me. I like to feel like I am correct and people think that I'm correct. I like it when my existing opinion is supported by other people out in the world. Or the opposite. I don't like that. That's what it amounts to when someone says, man, you really keep it real. Or you're a total shill. It's why pineapple and pizza is the true metaphor for the world and the internet and media today. Because either you like pineapple and pizza or you don't. It's purely subjective. But the reason I haven't reviewed the Avata is at this time, I would have to spend $1,300 to get an Avata and the goggles, and I don't even get a controller. I get the motion controller, so I'd also have to buy the controller. There is no world in which it's worth it to me to spend $1,300 for the drone and the goggles plus the controller, and then I'm a week late on the review while all the people who got launch day access have already gotten all the views and the sales. So that's why I haven't reviewed it. Because it would cost me a lot of money. Now, the goggles, granted, I could sell the Avata. The goggles, the thing is, like, it's not a product I'm super excited to test anyway. My analytics tell me that I would be a more successful channel if I did more content about DJI drones because they have a larger audience. But it's like I've owned a DJI Mini. It was fun. It was fine. I never used it. I just am not interested. I had the DJI FPV drone. It was fun. It was fine. I never used it. I sold it. I would love to review the O3 Air Unit and the goggles when they become available. I would love to be a part of. I am not a part of the release day of that either, so we'll have to see. That's the kind of product where it is so core to like my interests and my audience's interests that even if I'm a week late, I'm still going to review it. I feel like I will bring something to the table there that other people won't bring, even though I'm a week late. I'm going to do it. But like I watched Paul Nurkola's review of the Avata, and I was like, this is a great review. I watched Potato Jet's review of the Avata, and I was like, this is great. Yeah, good. You guys nailed it. And at that point, why would I come in a week, 2 weeks later and be like, hey guys, basically everything they said is right. And spend $1,300 for the privilege. Nah. If it didn't cost me $1,300, then like if Rotor Riot, I'm not trying to pick on Rotor Riot, but Rotor Riot is often my source for free or reduced cost DJI gear that DJI doesn't send me directly, because I don't know. And then anyway, if someone were to send me one, I'd probably review it because I'm interested. I'm just not interested. I'm not $1,300 interested. What can I say? Athix thinks it's because I broke the DJI FPV drone and they don't like to see that. I have no idea if that's true or not. I have no idea if, like, it would be really self-serving for me to think, yeah, I kept it too real. They only want people who are shilly and I don't know. That's too self-serving for me to believe it. Unless you have proof. Secret internal messages from DJI. Anyway. Jason Johnson, thank you for a $5 super chat. Any experience or knowledge of acrylic conformal coating versus silicon? Acrylic is easier to get and cheaper than silicon. Acrylic chips off is the problem. So silicon is a little bit flexible, and quadcopters are very vibration and shock prone. So the problem with acrylic, think about acrylic nail polish, right? Nail polish is acrylic, and acrylic conformal coating is kind of like clear nail polish. Think about how nail polish chips off. Silicon conformal coating won't do that. So you can use acrylic, but silicone is better. Alltags Vlog, thank you for €2. And Asif Kachlon, thank you for 15. What currency is this? I always like to check. 15 shekels. I have a Happy Model Fusion that got bricked in firmware update. What can I do? Fusion. Happy Model. Why did you spell Fusion this way? What are you doing, Happy Model? Happy Model Fusion. Asif, what were you updating when you bricked it? The Express LRS receiver? There's got to be a bootloader pad that'll let you reflash it. So, good news, Asif. It's probably not permanently bricked. The Express LRS team is clever and smart and certainly put bootloader pads on this SOB. I'm looking for them. Maybe these are them. These are probably them right here. I'll bet you a nickel. These are the bootloader pads right here. I don't know for sure, but I'll bet you. So probably... That's the Express... wait. No, I'm sorry. That's the F1 chip. I think that's the video transmitter side. Here's the ESP chip. This would be the Express LRS side. Where's the bootloader? There's got to be one. Captain Bry says those aren't them. Captain Bry, help me out here, dude. I figured out that those aren't them. Here's the ESP chip. Where's the bootloader? The pad is on the top side, says Captain Bry. Okay, I'd have lost that nickel. I said I bet you a nickel. The pad is on the top side. Where? 5-volt ground. Where's the bootloader, Captain Bry? I don't see it. It's not labeled. It's the blank component next to the antenna. Damn, it's good to have you here, man. Is that this right here? Do we jumper these pads here? Is this the bootloader? No, right here. I got it. Here we go. Thank you, ExpressLRS devs. I was going to say, if you don't know, just jump in the ExpressLRS Discord. But what you need to do, Asif Kachlon, these are the bootloader pads right here for the ExpressLRS receiver. You're going to short these pads, and then, Captain Bride, does he need an FTDI adapter? Where does he hook it up to does he hook an FTDI adapter to TX and RX 5 volt and ground? And then with the bootloader, he flashes it? Asif, I got to tell you, I've never had to restore from bootloader before like this. So I understand the general principles at stake and could probably fumble my way through it, but I can't easily just tell you what to do. So I would say jump on the ExpressLRS Discord and ask for help, and they will help you out. You're going to need an FTDI adapter, though, if you truly have bricked it. So there you go. What do you flash with, though? Do you flash from ExpressLRS Configurator? Just like normal? I guess you must. And so if I just pick a target, it doesn't matter. I would pick UART, and then down here I would need to pick my FTDI adapter, and then I would build. How do you do build and flash, though? Because you got to catch the bootloader window, don't you? How do you catch the bootloader window if you have to wait for it to build? Does it wait and say, Captain Bry, why is there not a flash button here that lets me flash a previously compiled firmware without building it? As long as we have an ExpressLRS dev here, I'm just going to whine at him. Yeah, but that's the gist of what you're going to need to do. Oh, it says Captain Bryce says, I see. If you just bridge that pad permanently, it will stay in bootloader mode, and you don't have to catch the bootloader window. Okay, nice. Solder over it. All right, thank you, Bry. Really appreciate you being here and being so available with these questions that I have. Yep. Oh my goodness gracious. You guys are persistent. You guys are so persistent. Nikola Kurchik wants to know the best Cinewhoop for $200 or less. Nicola, stop spamming the chat. And Conreed wants to know the best analog goggles for $300. Conreed is not spamming. Nicola, you're spamming. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. FPVKnowItAll.com is my website, home of the ultimate FPV shopping list, where there is a section about goggles. Analog goggles. The best for $300. Is this even still available? It is not. Do we need to finally get rid of the EV200D? Is it dead? By now, it's still available in stock. They have 43 in stock. Wow. How about the Skyo 4L? $400. That's more than you asked for. There isn't a lot out there for $300, I got to tell you. The EV300O is not on my list because of the latency problems, FitzFlights. I don't think they ever fixed the latency problem. But it is solid. As far as Cinewhoops go, whoa, we got a page about Cinewhoops too. Can you get an analog Cinewhoop for $200 these days? Let's find out. Yep. GEP RC Cinelog 2.5. There you go. Thank you for the opportunity to plug my website. Excuse me. Tom likes analog. That's an interesting question. Tom likes analog says, now I've answered your questions. Please stop spamming the chat. That's actually really... Ton likes analog. Sorry about that, Ton. Is there a way to make my radio count my right rolls and turns and shout at me to tell me to go right for a change? That's interesting. Like, could it count your left and your right turns? That's interesting. Sit tight. Sit tight. Sit tight. What a great question. Hold on. You bear with me, chat. This is a great question. It's interesting enough that I am going to try, I'm going to set up my overhead cam and we're going to kind of look at it here on stream. I think this is a fascinating question. Okay. Oh, that's my microphone. Sorry about that. Oh, hang on. Why is that? Is this? No, not cam link. Oh, right. I remember what I got to do. I got to plug this in here. Yeah, okay. I don't use this camera very often for for streaming. Hold on. I'm almost with you. Come on. What are we doing? Do we need to unplug and replug the HDMI? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Best stream ever. Just a black screen. Why is it not working? Hold on. No. I don't understand why that input isn't working. Hold on. The cam link is there. It's not getting video. Why is it not getting video? Well, we may not be able to do this right now. I'm going to try for just a minute, another minute. Is it working at all? Yeah, it's working at all. Cam link. Why are you not getting any picture from the overhead cam? The HDMI is definitely plugged in. 1, 2, 3. Did it get unplugged behind my desk somehow? Oh, it sure enough did. Well, fuck. What the fuck am I gonna do now? Oh, where does this cable go? Where does this cable go? Oh, here it is. I see. That's not the same one at all. Oh, that's why. How about now? How about now? Yay! There we go. It was the wrong wire. Hold on a second. Okay, we're almost there, folks. Let me just... No. No. Where's... Fuck. No, where's frickin' clean output? You... Damn you. Monitor / display. There we go. Oh, stop this nonsense. There we go. No, that's not right at all. Damn it. Where is the frickin' clean output setting? What the fuck? All right. What? That's not it. All right, screw it. All right, we'll just do it like this. Okay. That's super annoying, isn't it? Oh, we got to flip this too. There we go. All right. That's super annoying. Why can't I turn that off? Where is it? Where's the clean output setting? Why can I not find this setting? It's not there. Lenses / others, is that where it is? That's not it. Monitor info display, that's it. That's it. No, that's not it. Damn it. The fuck? Why can I can never find this option. TV connection. No. The fuck? Oh my god. All right, fine. Screw it. I'm done. Here we go. So annoying. Yeah, the freaking zebra stripes and everything are so annoying. I have to try to fix it. Why can I not find this setting? HDMI rec output. There we go. Why is it in that menu? There we go. I got it. Thank you. It's in a different place on this camera than my other two Lumix cameras. Here we go. I got it. It's the... anyway. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a... the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clone this model. Duplicate model so that I don't screw up my real model. Okay, select model. And then I'm going to rename the model GLRS. Great, perfect. We're going to go to the logical switches is where we're going to start. And we're going to make a logical switch. A is greater than X. And we're going to choose rudder, or do we want roll? Let's do aileron. Aileron is greater than, let's say, 20. It's 20. And let's test that switch. So this should go true when we roll to the right. Yes, perfect. And we could change this threshold of 20 based on how far to the right we're rolling. So right now it turns on at about not very far. Okay, but that's fine. We're going to make another one. Copy. Paste. Edit. And it's going to be A is less than X. And it's going to be negative 20. Okay, great. So now we have two logical switches. One that... oh, hang on. I got to set the input. Sorry, my bad. Aileron. So now we have one switch that turns on when we roll to the left, and one switch that turns on when we roll to the right. Okay, that's step one. We're going to set up a logical switch that detects the condition that we are trying to be monitoring. Now, I think if we want to count. Why? Why would you do that? Don't drop out. Okay, if you want to count how often that happens, you need a global function. A global variable. Right? I've done this before. I don't know why this is dropping out. That's annoying. We're going to have special function 1. And switch is going to be LO1. And the function is going to be adjust global variable 1, 1, and enable. It's adjust, right? Yeah. And I'll show you what that does in just a second. And then SFO2. Oh, this is a great idea. Oh, we don't need to keep 2 separate counters. We can just keep 1 counter, and if it's positive, we've turned right, and if it's negative, we've turned left. Interesting. That may be one way to do it. Yeah, that's that. I think that's the smart way to do it. So we're gonna copy, and we're gonna paste, and this one is gonna be LO2. And we're going to adjust GV1 -1. So now, if we go to the global variable screen, stop. If we go to the global variable screen, what we should see is that GV1 goes up. Oh, wait. Oh, it's just setting the value. Damn. Okay, hang on. There's something else. I've done this before. Hang on. We're just setting the value. We're not quite there yet. I think what you have to do is you have to... Do you long click on adjust? Oh, what do you do? There's like a plus equals mode. Oh, inc dec. There we go. Increment decrement. Perfect. Plus equals 1. There we go. That's what I needed. And LO2 is going to be mode increment decrement plus equals minus equals 1. Okay, great. Now let's try it. Let's go to the global variable screen. And if I turn to the right, it goes up. And if I turn to the left, it goes down. Oh my goodness. This is going to be so good. Okay. So now, by looking at global variable number 1, if global variable number 1 is positive, we have turned to the right more than we have turned to the left. If global variable number 1 is negative, we have turned to the left more than we have turned to the right. So now, all we need to do is start we need a logical switch, okay? We go back to logical switches. Okay, next logical switch. If A is greater than X, we need it to be a global variable. Where do we get global variables here? We have to have the global variable be the source. Where even are those? Are those in this list? Huh. We have to find GV here as the source. Hold on. There we go. GV1. If GV1 is greater than, let's say, 3, then this switch will become true. We might want to put a duration on here, and we might want to set it up to reset itself after a time. I'm not going to do that right now. And if A is less than X, let's just copy that. It'll be easier to copy that. No. Copy, please. Copy. Paste. If A is less than X, that means we need to turn left. Didn't I copy? Oh, I didn't paste. I'm sorry. Paste. There we go. So if A is less than X... Oh, I see. It doesn't work. All right. Where's GV1? Hello? There we go. If GV1 is less than -3, then that switch will become true. So now... Oh, hang on. Go back to logical switches. Okay, so let's watch these. LO3 is going to be, I've turned right too many times. There we go. I've turned right too many times. And now, if I go to the left, LO4 will become true. I've turned left too many times. So then, the last step is to make it play the audio. So we're going to go to Special Functions. And we're going to say Logical Switch 3 Function Play Track Value. Now we're going to need an audio track for this. We don't have one. I don't know. Do we have an audio track for left or right? We could make a custom audio track, of course. I don't see left or right as an audio track. So we're just going to have to pick a stand-in audio track. Okay. And LO4 is going to be play audio, play track. Okay, I just picked a stand-in audio track. So, okay, we'll turn the volume all the way up on the radio. And let's see. If I turn to the left, we should look at the screen to see what our logical switches are doing and our special functions.
69.
There you go.
Acro mode on.
Boom. There you go. It's working.
69. Acro mode on.
There you go. There you go. We did it.
69.
Woohoo! What a cool idea. What a cool idea. Oh, thank you guys for... that was such a cool idea. I just wanted to go through it here. That's such a great idea. I may make a video about that, but that's the power of OpenTX or EdgeTX. And now you can have a warning that you've turned left or turned right too many times. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty... Is this useful? I don't know. It's fun. Oh, man. I'm going to make a video about that now. What a great idea, Ton Likes Analog. What a great idea. Does it count for each or just even them out to 0? Well, Mike Bergman, what we could... we've just got it counting for each. We got it evening out to 0. That's all. That was a simpler way to tell which way you're turning by positive and negative numbers. You could keep a separate count for left and right, then have another setting that subtracts them. That's harder. So, how do you reset the numbers? Good point. There's a special function. So, if you want to reset the numbers, what you would need to do is... Damn it. Stop that nonsense. Come on. There's a special function that will reset. You'd need to set up a switch, and the function is going to be set, I think. Reset? No, that's a timer. It would be adjust GV1 to 0. And you would choose a switch to do that manually. Like, you could do it with your arm switch. That's how I would do it. So I'd say every time I disarm, reset GV1 to 0. So that's my disarm position, right? So the way it would work is, if we go back to the global variables, the way it would work is I would arm, and now I'm flying and it's doing its thing, right? And then when I disarm, watch, it resets to 0. That's how I would do it. Also, PopXFPV points out we could just reset automatically So that's a great, and again, it's just how do you want it to behave? That's a great idea. We could say that LO1 or LO2 becomes true. No. When LO3 or LO4 becomes true, we reset the counter to 0. So we could say, here's how we could do that. LO3, no, sorry, we need logical switches, my bad. So here in logical switches, we could say, edit, this switch is going to be or LO3, LO4. So this switch is going to be true when either LO3 or LO4 becomes true. It's going to tell us that we've triggered the limit. Hello, why are you not working? Oh, because my switch is not... because the arm switch is not on. It's locked it out. Interesting. So now, let's see. Yeah, so then we could say when LO5 triggers... When LO5 triggers, then we reset the number. Not override channel, though. No, just delete that. I'm sorry. That's a mistake. LO5. So what that's going to do is, instead of basing it on the arm switch, now it's going to be, ready? 1, 2, 3.
69.
See, as soon as it trips and says, turn left, then it resets itself and starts over again. That's clever. That's actually probably better.
69.
Because it doesn't let me get all the way off to the side and never trigger again.
Acro mode on.
That's really good. That's really good. And then what we could also do, I mean, now because I'm just sort of deep in this is so much fun. What we're going to do is we're going to edit this reset function and we're going to add SF down. So it only works when, I'm sorry, no. So no, hang on. I've screwed it up. That's not what I want. Disable that. What we want is, we only want to increment and decrement the counter when we're armed. So we're going to add SF up to the first two, that increment and decrement. So now we will only count turns when we're armed. That's good. That's good. So if I disarm, see, it didn't reset though. That's annoying. It should reset when I disarm. That's easy to do. Hang on. That's easy. Here, we could do that. We'll just add another special function that also, so SF5 resets when it triggers, but we can just add another one that resets when we disarm. Easy peasy. So now, let's check our behavior. If I'm disarmed, nothing happens. I'm going to arm, and I'm going to make some right turns.
69.
And then it says, turn left, and resets.
Acro mode on. Acro mode on.
Yeah, it's like, turn right, you dummy, turn right. And then as soon as I disarm, it resets again. Boom! We did it, boys! We did it, boys! That's so cool. That's so cool. That's so cool. I'm going to make a video about that. That's really cool. All right, that's it. I'm retired. Oh, it's 2:58 p.m. Perfect. It's the end of the stream. I'm retiring. What a great idea. Isn't that great? Isn't that fun? People are like, why do you need EdgeTX? OpenTX and EdgeTX can both do this. I'm like, that's why. For bullshit like that. Let me clear out these super chats before we get out of here. Steve E., thank you for a $2 super chat. Fantastic seeing you work through this problem. Thank you guys for sticking around through the BS with the camera. I know that was a little bit annoying. Wivester, thank you for €5. The first stream I watched. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Coelho FPV, thanks for a $10 super chat. Good stuff. Nerdy stuff for sure. Thank you, Jeremy Pierce Sunia, for a $5 super chat. I updated my Flywoo Explorer from 4.3.0 to 4.3.1, and I cannot get it to read my Crossfire Nano RX. Did you save the configuration, man? You should have been able to copy paste the 4.3.0 to the 4.3.1. Please tell me you did a CLI dump. Please tell me you did a CLI dump before you did it. If not, I would suggest getting the CLI dump from Flywoo and trying to restore the CLI dump. Isaiah Newman, thank you for a $2 super chat. Mamba F405 Mark II Fury. LEDs don't work. The Mark II. The Mark II doesn't have the LED jumper like some of the others. Does it? I don't think it does. Oh, it's such a pain in the ass to get a freaking wiring diagram from Diatone. Because all the links... Diatone. This is so annoying. Here, get a wiring diagram link. What are we doing? What? Where's my green screen messed up? Okay, I'll just turn that off for now. Then you click on the link, and it just takes you to their... It doesn't link you directly to the correct diagram. It just takes you to their main page. And now I have to look for it. Super annoying. Mamba F405. It's just got the standard Betaflight LED pad. No, give me the image. Thank you. It says Betaflight. See, but this is a low res. God damn it, Diatone. This is low resolution. Yeah. Why can you not? Where is that? Oh, here it is. All right, I take it back. I'm dumb. We should just have a standard LED pad, right? Yeah, it's just a standard. Oh, interesting. No, what's going on here? It's the BF LED and the LED. So Mamba has a custom LED board, but you said you're using the Betaflight LED pad. There's one over here. What about this pad? Could it be this one? Interesting. I assume you're using this pad. That's what I would expect to work. Try this one. Try this pad, I guess is what I would say. And of course, you need to have LED strip enabled. Isaiah's using the broke out pad in the corners. I don't see that on this wiring diagram. Am I looking at the wrong wiring diagram? Jacob Cantrell, thank you for a $2 super chat. Do affiliate links work if items are already in the cart? I don't know the answer to that, unfortunately. I just don't know. Where's the broke out pad in the corner then, Isaiah? I don't understand. Here's the problem is this here, look, try this one. There's like 3 LED pads on this flight controller. Are they all the same? I don't know. Every corner has... Oh, I see. They've got them in the corners in case you have a bunch of LEDs. But this has got to be the correct... Oh. These are not the Betaflight LED pad. I see. Isaiah, my guess is that this LED pad is only for the Mamba flashbang board. But you need to use the BF LED pad for the Betaflight LED strip function. My guess is that only the BF LED pad here works with standard programmable LEDs. Isaiah, that's what I think. The chat says I'm correct. I'd love to hear that. Siati, very sorry for going long, but I got to finish these super chats up, my friend. Ant FPV Music, Betaflight does support LED strip, as far as I know. At Altag's Vlog, thank you for a €5 super chat. What's your feeling? What role Walksnail will play in digital FPV 1 or 2 years from now? I mean, I hope that they will have sorted out their firmware issues and have a great product that people can rely on. But who knows? Time will tell. Thank you, Scott Abramacek, for a $2 super chat. That's going to do it. There are 4 pads labeled LED. Yeah, because they think that you might have 4 LED strips on the corners of your quad, and they want to make the wiring simple. Yeah. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for the stream. Thank you so much for coming out. Hey, I didn't cough too much. Did you notice that? I didn't cough too much. I must be getting better. I'm getting better, boys. Have a great stream, Siati. Thank you guys for coming out. I'll see you tomorrow. Happy flying, everybody. Bye.